Welcome back.
Do excuse me, Professor. Professor, sorry to disturb you again.
What is it you want to know, miss?
To tell you the truth, I'm looking for Mr. Hans Vorarlberg. He's the sole heir of a very unusual factory. My company is in charge of negotiations for the takeover of this factory. At last word, he was living in Syberia, so as soon as my train is ready, I'll be continuing my journey eastwards.
Syberia. Syberia. But what was it you said again?
Said what?
You mentioned a name. The person you are looking for.
Vorarlberg. Hans Vorarlberg. Do you know him?
Hans Vorarlberg. How could I forget him? Such an extraordinary fellow. So inventive. We shared a passion for mammoths, you know, and we bonded over this passion. Without it, I confess, I would have had little to do with an odd, ageless retard like Hans. At the time, we were both students. Well, sort of. Put it this way. Hans had special permission to attend paleontology lectures. You see, he didn't really have the necessary qualifications. In exchange, Hans did a few odd jobs around the university.
Your Hans Vorarlberg sounds uncannily like the one I'm looking for.
I'm not sure, my dear. Hans was above all questions of money and business. Just to imagine him running a factory, perish the thought.
Can you tell me a little bit more about him?
He was always a mystery to me. He never said very much, never quite seemed to grasp what you said to him. He expressed himself instead through his incredible mechanical contraptions. His inventions, I admit, have been much appreciated by the university. The few times we really did talk, it was about his strange interest for mammoths and a doll. Some sort of doll that obsessed him.
A doll, you say?
Yes, he kept talking about it. One day he described it to me. A sort of children's toy. A miniature mammoth mounted by a mount. It appears he found it in a cave not far from his home. The event all sounds very dramatic. His account was slightly confused, but it awoke a great interest in me.
What do you mean?
To my knowledge, there was only one tribe who made figurines featuring a mouth, and that tribe is the Yukols. They live in the farthest reaches of Syberia, and for them, the dolls constituted a sacred object, illustrating one of their central legends. How such a doll made the journey from the frozen Siberian north to a cave in the French Alps is a mystery to me. Even today, it is beyond my comprehension.
Have you considered that Hans Vorarlberg was maybe making it up? You said yourself he didn't seem to have all his mental facilities intact.
No, that's impossible. Hans couldn't invent the story like that. The doll is a sacred part of the Syberia legend. He described it to me in exact detail. Syberia itself is a chimera that paleontologists of the world are very fond of pursuing.
My train stopped in a peculiar aviary. It's very odd. A lot of bird species seem to seek harbor there.
Ornithology is far from being my favorite subject, but I must concede that the station is the pride of the university. It was initially intended for teaching purposes, but then birds started arriving from all around the world. It seems that there are still rare species breeding there and flourishing.
Are there? Can you give me an example?
I have been told about a kind of bird with peculiar habits. Let's see now, the Amazon cuckoo, that's right. But, I'm so foolish, I can't remember what was so special about it. Just that its behavior is very peculiar.
The Amazon? Where's the Amazon? What is the Amazon?
I'm sorry, my dear, but one cannot learn everything in a lifetime. Specialization is the key to real knowledge. Now, why don't you pay a visit to our library?
Thank you very much.
Well, we talked about the money, the bird, the train, Hans.
Please do excuse my persistence, Professor, but did Hans Vorarlberg ever talk about his childhood? About Valadilene and his sister, Anna?
No, not that I recall.
pity.
When I think of Hans, I'm always reminded of a mysterious mammoth doll he would talk about so often. A small effigy of a mammoth made of hide and mounted with its own miniature maut. How come he was so lucky? Why have I not seen this?
What would you say about seeing Hans Vorarlberg again? After all, you could come with me and help me find him.
Young lady, you are very kind. I'm far too old for such escapades.
Okay then.
I'll leave you in peace. I hope I haven't disturbed you too much.
Sorry? No, not at all, my dear child.
Oh, sorry. Didn't mean to do that, actually. Didn't mean to come here either. Sorry. This place is confusing.
Good day to you, gentlemen.
Tell me, young lady, to what do we owe this pleasure? Please do be brief. We do not have very much time on our hands.
As rectors of this university, we have serious matters to attend to, and our time is precious.
I have heard you wish to meet the owner of the train that is currently in your station. May I know the reason for your summons?
We are surprised that your train has not yet left, miss. The situation is most regrettable.
The rules do clearly state that trains are meant to come and go and not remain stationary at a platform.
Trains should first stop, then subsequently leave. That is the rule.
We agree then, dear colleagues, that what we're dealing with is deviant behavior.
This matter really is cause for concern.
It's a clockwork train, you see? So it needs winding up again. Unfortunately, there is no equipment in the station to do this.
A clockwork train? That's strange.
How very quaint. You mean it's some sort of mechanical toy?
You are causing a hindrance to us, miss.
I am very hopeful that I will find what I need along the wall.
The wall?
Miss, that really is not a suitable place for you to go.
Especially for a young lady.
You see, miss, we freely admit that every day we praise the existence of that particular edifice. We owe the integrity of our dear university and the fine education it provides to the wall.
It protects us from harm and invasion from the unknown.
May God protect us from what is beyond those ramparts, miss. Please believe me.
I don't have any choice. I must continue my journey.
Such a decision is a correct one since it's in line with regulations.
Thus your train will indeed be able to leave.
And consequently cease to obstruct our station.
I haven't introduced myself. My name is Kate Walker.
Walker, haven't we already had a Miss Walker? Ethnology Masters, September 1953, if my memory serves me correctly.
Perfectly well, my dear colleague. But if I may be so bold, it was a Mr. Walker and not a Miss. It was Bill Walker, sat this June '68 exams. The impudent fool turned up for the oral assessment in jeans, flouting strict internal regulations which explicitly state the required uniform for the occasion.
Pure incitement. It was scandalous. Sadly, we have seen worse since. Young people lack all respect of traditional values.
Tradition, young lady. One must always uphold tradition.
Okay then.
That idea of the station aviary is really very original.
It's the pride of our university. One of the specialties taught here is zoology, you see, and more particularly, ornithology. Proper study and instruction should not be limited to books. Observation of living matter is indissociable from theoretical questions.
It contains some very rare specimens that have been brought back from far away exotic countries, especially for our university, by the world's most intrepid explorers.
Do you remember Alexander Valembois and his peculiar bird?
Absolutely. His gift produced some very embarrassing long-term consequences.
A poison chalice indeed. It must be said the situation could have been much worse, however.
Oh, yes, it could have been terribly problematic.